What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Extremely Decent Video Game Podcast. I am one of your hosts, Jay Lewis, and joining me today is this extremely decent scoundrel over here, Nathan Hodge. What's going on, brother?
How's it going, Jay?
It's going pretty well. So, Nate, we're post Sony conference. So, what are your thoughts?
Well, okay, here are my thoughts. I don't understand the internet's outrage over the Sony presentation. Now, they've been getting a lot of backlash recently. I personally don't understand it. I think it's a little bit overblown. And I think it has to do with, something we've been seeing a lot this year, and that's the fact that people are getting their expectations out of line with what is really being presented to them.
She just totally bumped her head on the bottom of the table. Sorry, I started laughing, so continue on.
So yeah, I think that's where a lot of the backlash from this whole Sony conference thing is coming from. It's, people hands down, I think the Scorpio is the better of the two, right?
Right, and I think that's what the outrage is that people thought that Sony was going to come out and show off a PS Neo that competed with the Scorpio,
right.
and that's not the case, and I think that's where the outrage is. Being on that side of the fence, my knee-jerk reaction was the same as the internet's. I was really down on the conference. The conference was really bad. Okay?
Yeah.
It was really dull. It was boring. It was a snooze fest. And then on top of that, when we saw a console that is not necessarily a whole lot stronger than what everyone thought it was going to be, and there were no mic drop moments in the conference, I think that's why it was received so negatively, but keep going.
Yeah, this conference, it's nothing comparable to what we would see at E3, at all. They could have done that for us as consumers, at least give us one moment where it was we'd have something to brag about and take away from the conference, but overall I really felt they're just, this is just an average thing. This is what we got coming out. The PlayStation Pro, is not for the average consumer, right? This is for people who want to get into VR. They want to squeeze a little bit more out of, this current console generation, but it's not for the everyday consumer. That's what the PlayStation Slim is for.
Correct. We learned that it will be replacing the current SKU of PlayStation.
Right.
So it's not even the PS Slim. This is just the new PlayStation.
This is the new PlayStation. It's $100 cheaper, which I like. It does everything a little bit better too, I think, than the original PlayStation.
Yes,
not a whole lot better, but I think it's great. I like what they've done because, I don't necessarily have to buy the PlayStation Pro to keep up with gaming. Games moving forward will be more optimized to run on the PlayStation Pro, but outside of that, I don't feel a whole lot of pressure in needing to get it. So, and at the same time, I don't really think Sony's got to compete with Microsoft, right? They're way ahead of the game right now.
Yeah, they're winning the console race 2-1.
Yeah, so they have nothing to worry about. They can take a little bit of this flack, but it's good to see that Microsoft has come out strong with the Scorpio. I like the fact that the Scorpio is better than the Pro, because Microsoft needs to level the playing field,
right.
And competition is good for us as the consumers.
Yeah. So off cam, you kind of after I talked to you and you kind of gave me your perspective on this console, I was like, you know what, you're kind of right. And once I digested it and let it marinate for a little bit, and I thought about it, I'm like, you know what, this isn't a terrible thing. It's people that are out there spending money on these 4K televisions, they're probably excited. You know what I mean? Because it's now I really get to show off what this TV can do. So that's pretty cool. So let's talk about the specs real quick on the Pro. It nearly doubles the GPU.
Right.
So that's a pretty big deal. Higher clock speeds, which means they can lock the frame rate in at 60. At least most of the time.
Yeah, and that point right there is something that a lot of people are upset about, because the frame rate, I don't believe, is going to go any higher, actually. They're going to lock the frame rate at 60 so that the playing field is level across all the consoles for competitive online play. So that's something gamers have to take into account with this.
Right.
We're not getting higher frame rate because of that. It keeps the playing field level.
Right. 4K resolution, which means 8 million pixels They really hit on that 8 million pixels.
Right.
Enhanced VR. It enhances VR, so you were right about that. And it doubles the render. So
yeah, most of the doubling of the GPU and the doubling of the render rate is for VR. It's so you can have two screens in front of your eyeballs. I mean, that's exactly what.
And we've heard a lot of negative reports coming out of these PSVR demos that they were doing. People talking about being, getting nausea because the frame rate was too low and the rendering wasn't very well and it didn't look good enough. So you nailed it when you said that this console, they need this in order for their VR to work well,
right,
and not make people sick.
Exactly that.
So that's what the PS Pro is in a nutshell. For $399, that's the original price of the PS4. You're getting double the GPU, double the render, 4K, higher clock speeds. So it's like, yes, it doesn't compete with the Scorpio, but you're getting, for the same price, you're getting all that. So
right.
If you look at it like that, and that's the way you probably should look at it, like, don't compare it to the Scorpio. Like you said, they're catching up to Sony with that console.
Yeah.
So it's a good console.
Right.
And it's great for the price. Conference, on the other hand, not too good.
No, it wasn't.
We did see some new gameplay footage from Mass Effect Andromeda. Unfortunately, we didn't get to see probably what a lot of us wanted to see, some nice vistas, and see how the visuals are truly going to look. The video footage that they showed was inside some type of, factory or some kind of facility, and it was a really dark area, so you couldn't tell too much. But the gameplay looked fluid. It looked interesting. The voice acting sounded really good. It looks pretty cool, but you couldn't draw too much from the actual demo that they showed. We got to see more gameplay footage of Horizon Zero Dawn. I couldn't be more hyped for that game.
Oh my gosh, yes.
And then, like, in the trailer that they showed, the female character, she's on the side of a mountain and she's looking into the distance, and like that vista, dude, was like, oh my, jaw dropping. And then as she starts scaling down the mountain, like the tall grass is just moving, her hair, like she has like dreadlocks, are moving in the wind, and then she approaches this large looking like brontosaurus, but only it's a robot brontosaurus. Anyone familiar with the game, the dinosaurs are some kind of weird tech going on. So she grapples onto the top of this brontosaurus's head and hacks it, and it pulls up some kind of map, and then she pops like an achievement when it happens, and then she grapples down it. Everything looked extremely fluid. It looked like a lot of fun, man.
Yeah, this game is super exciting. I mean, it seems really creative. I like what they're doing with the characters and the game mechanics, and yeah, I couldn't be more excited for that one.
Yeah, that one's coming out next February. We saw, what else did we see here? Andrew Hendrickson, he took to the stage and talked about that Call of Duty Infinite Warfare and what was it? The remastered Modern Warfare Remastered and Black Ops. They're all gonna work with Pro outside of the box. So all the new Call of Duty games, or the two new Call of Duties coming out this November, and the current Call of Duty Black Ops, it's gonna get that 4K treatment, and it's gonna work with the Pro outside of the box when the Pro releases this November. And I believe that was November 10th that it's releasing. Yeah, November 10th. So what's your thoughts on that? Already getting games that are gonna be featuring outside of the box.
That's awesome. I mean, but at the same time, that's kind of what we can expect, right? Is to have this. So it's nice to see them going ahead and setting up this new system, because not any of the games that have been released so far are going to be optimized for PS Pro, and there's a lot of incentive for, well, not incentive. game companies, developers, when they have to go back and do this, it's probably going to end up costing us money. So it's nice to see them going ahead and getting ahead of the game and going ahead and getting that patch in so that it'll be compatible with them when they come out. So that's really nice of them to do that for us, and that's a good way.
Yeah, because one thing that scares me is that they said that not all games aren't going to be required to run in 4K. It's going to be up to the developer to choose to do it. So that's a little scary.
Yeah.
I said he said something in the effect of we have a lot of developers lining up to start supporting the 4K and all that stuff. But is that exaggerated? Is it just going to be top tier AAA studios doing it? Are some of these third-party games not going to deliver that 4K quality? I'm interested to see how many developers actually, use that extra bit of...
Yeah, it depends on the development resources they have. I'd be willing to bet that most AAA games will go for 4K, but maybe not all games will, just for development costs.
Yeah. Other things we learned about in this conference, I want to get off this topic as soon as we can. New Netflix app is coming that's going to support 4K. New YouTube app is coming to the Pro that's going to support 4K. Every PS4 is going to be HDR compatible with an update, which is the 4.0 update, which we'll get to in just a second. The Slim is out the 15th of September, so 2 days from now?
Yeah.
Yeah, so the Slim's out on the 15th. The Pro's out November 10th. $299 for the Slim, $399 for the Pro. That's basically the conference in a nutshell. We didn't see that rumored Vita 2 that we were hoping to see. So that was a little bit of a bummer. But yeah, that was the conference in a nutshell. Again, I don't think it was great.
It wasn't.
Pretty flat.
Yeah. I wasn't expecting a whole lot.
Same old Sony that we're used to.
Yeah.
If anything, this last E3 they had was nobody saw that coming. So, but yeah, that was the conference. So, out today actually, Nate, is the BioShock collection. In that collection, you get BioShock 1, 2, and Infinite. So, we talked about our experience with BioShock, and we both kind of felt the same way, and it just wasn't for us.
Yeah, I played the first BioShock. I got about 5 hours into it, and I lost interest in it. I'm not saying it's a bad game. It is a phenomenal game. I was impressed with what I saw, but it didn't hold my interest personally. However, I would be interested in going back to it, and especially playing Infinite. Because that one seems really awesome.
That one really had my eye.
Yeah. There's something about the aesthetic to Infinite that really appeals to me.
And the crazy looking contraptions in that game, and weapons, and the way you move about the environment, those little sky coaster rails.
The tether lines, or whatever they are.
And it looks like politics play a large part in that game.
Right, yeah. So there's a lot of interesting aspects to Infinite, and it would be enough to get me to at least try the first two again leading up to it, I think. So
now, fans of the BioShock series, they were kind of down on Infinite. I guess it was a lot different than what they saw in other BioShocks.
Right. Well, because it's so different from the first two.
Right, exactly.
The first two are underwater, they're very dark. And
this takes to the sky, the complete opposite.
So I can see why, the people who are really on board with the first game and the second one would, feel like this one didn't live up to it, because it's so drastically different from the first two entries.
Yeah, and when I was playing BioShock 1, what immediately turned me off is... And I'm not really sensitive to claustrophobia, but I felt claustrophobic in that game. It does
have that.
Yeah, just feeling like you are underwater, and everything felt so tight and constricted. I as much as I tried to get immersed, I just couldn't.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And the second one, I don't even think I ever even attempted, because I'm if I didn't like the first one, I'm not gonna like the second one.
Right. Yeah.
That being said, these games are critically acclaimed. You're getting all three games for $60, and they're fully remastered. Extremely good value. And even though we didn't like it, I think, I can't speak for you, but it gets my seal of approval.
It definitely gets my seal of approval.
All right, EDC EDG seal of approval on the Bioshock collection. And again, that comes out today, which is September 13th in North America. We have a delay to report, Nate. Sadly.
Are you gonna make me do this? Because I don't want to do this.
Yeah, you get to bring the bad news.
All right, here we go. Big surprise, folks. Last Guardian is delayed again till December 6th this time. We don't know exactly why, but this game has been in development for 10 years now. What's a couple more months?
This game got announced on the PS3, and it had a release date of 2011.
Yeah.
And it just got delayed again until December.
Yep.
And we had a little bit of a theory.
Yeah, we do.
We think that it might have been delayed due to the fact of the PS Pro.
Right, and that's very likely. It's, it was coming out so close to the launch of the PlayStation Pro. They probably are going to optimize this to run on the new settings, so let's hope that that's what it is. Let's hope there wasn't some game-breaking glitch or something. Let's just hope that they're going to optimize it for Pro, and that's why there's a release. A date release. Words escape me.
Yeah. Well, it's because you're so upset about these delays.
Yeah.
And see, the thing about it is, too, is Final Fantasy 15 was supposed to come out this month.
Right.
It got delayed to December. Last Guardian was supposed to come out this month. Got delayed to December. Nate, both these games have been in development for 10 years.
Yeah. And they're both by Japanese developers, too. So
developers need to scale these games back, man. 10 years, you'll never make that money back.
Yeah, the development cycles for these games is really strange to begin with. We know that Final Fantasy 15 started out as a completely different game before it morphed into what it is today. Last Guardian, we're still not exactly sure what happened there. We know it had a lot of development trouble on the PlayStation 3 and almost didn't see the light of day whatsoever. So, I mean, it's still kind of encouraging that we're going to get the game, but it's disappointing to see it delayed at the same time. So I can wait till December, and I'm still going to get the game, but
in history, releasing a game in December is not that great of an idea because you miss that Black Fridays. You miss the window. People do their holiday shopping in November to prep themselves for Christmas. Right. This game is coming out in December. I wonder how that's going to pan out for them. I don't like that December date.
It's not great.
And you're already talking about a game that had a niche audience anyway.
Yeah, it's not a great release window for it. People will pick it up with their holiday cash afterwards, but yeah, it's just not a great time for it. If it had came out in November, you're right, it would have been the perfect time for people to pick it up for the holidays. But as we're looking at it now, it's going to be like an afterthought, like what you do with your Christmas cash after the holidays.
Yeah. So look for that December 6th, guys. Sad to say it. Gran Turismo got delayed till next year. Sony and these AAA delays, man.
Gosh. All the games that I was going to play in the last half of this year have been delayed.
Not good. Now, Nate, the Tokyo Game Show is currently underway. It started today, actually. And we weren't wrong, guys. There is a new Vita. 2, to be exact. Actually, no, they're just reskinned Vitas.
Yeah.
2 different colors. One of them is silver, and the other one is metallic red. You can't say metallic without saying meta. I don't know. I just now noticed that.
Okay.
And they're coming December 1st to Japan only. But they're not region locked, so you can get one imported.
Yeah.
And have those really awesome colors. What I'm curious about is why December 1st? If all they are is just a different skin on the outside of it, what's the deal?
I have no idea.
It takes a long time to paint all those Vitas.
I guess so. I guess in time for the holidays for Japan?
Yeah.
Sure. We'll go
guess
with that.
So. Release date for Neo.
Yes.
So we checked out Neo. So NIOH, guys. Neo, it is an action-adventure RPG, and it is out February 9th talk to me about your time with the beta and your thoughts.
I got to spend a fair amount of time with the beta. I really enjoyed the game. It's very much Bloodborne-esque, Dark Souls-esque. You know, that kind of genre of gaming where it's hard as nails. You're punished for every mistake you make, and it seems to have this kind of same gameplay loop. You know, you'll go through a section, barely survive getting through it, and then find a way to get back. You'll open up, you know, shortcuts that'll lead you back to altars, like campfires, and then you get to save your game and beef your character up a little bit more and take another stab at getting farther through the level. So I really like that gameplay mechanic. This game, it's good. It seems to borrow a little too heavily from Bloodborne, but that's, you know, we only played the beta, so, you know, we got a very limited scope of what the game's going to actually be capable of. But I really did enjoy the basic gameplay mechanics. The combat system in the game is super awesome. Like, I love being able to change stances.
Yeah, high, medium, and low stances. That was really cool.
Yeah,
you have a spirit animal, which, you know, as you're killing enemies and doing well, this meter is building, and once the meter maxes out, you're able to bring out your spirit animal, which will help you do extra damage, and it puts this really cool animal right alongside your character. And I had like a coyote that was like on fire.
Yeah,
I think they're probably all the same,
yeah.
right, for the beta. Really super cool.
Oh, yeah.
The visuals, outstanding.
I will say that they're okay for the beta that we played. I don't feel like there's as much polish on this game as we saw with the Bloodborne and Dark Souls games. But again, this is the beta, so the final product might be a little bit better. But
I like the clean, minimalist look that it has.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
I like that there's not, like, too much going on. Like, I feel like it looks the way it does. Like, it's stripped away of a lot of stuff, and what you have is just, like, a really, really clean palette.
Yeah.
And, you know, comparing it to Bloodborne, man, those textures, crazy.
Yeah,
the textures popped. Whereas this doesn't really have the textures, but it has like a really nice soft color palette and just a really clean, sharp look, I felt. I think it's everyone's going to feel a little different about it.
Yeah.
And I see what you're saying about like it maybe not looking like a AAA game. Initially, I thought this was a mid-tier game. I thought it was going to be like a $30, $40 game, but it is in fact a AAA $60 game. I'm curious to see how that game does. Very hard, by the way, folks.
Yeah.
If you're not used to these types of games, like Tenchu, like this game is like for the hardcore.
Yes, definitely. So.
I died a lot in my hour and a half with the game.
Yeah.
But that being said, it kept me wanting to go back.
Very rewarding combat system.
Very rewarding.
And deep.
The loot system is awesome. You see these dead characters like all throughout the map, and when you go up to them, it tells you what level the character is. So it's kind of one of those risk reward things. If you take a character and you try to battle him and he's a little bit higher than your level, then you're probably going to get good loot out of it. But if you die, you have to start from the very beginning of the level. But like you said, then you started opening up shortcuts. So very Bloodborne-esque.
Right.
Definitely. So look for that, folks. February 9th. If you want to check out any gameplay footage, head over to the Square Gamer. I did a Let's Play of it. It's up over there on our YouTube channel, The Square Gamers. Now the last bit of top news we have, PS4 is getting an update.
They got an update today, actually. I got to check it out a little bit before I came over here to do the podcast with you, and I got a little bit of time with it. I didn't get too deep into the new features, but I'll go over some points right now so you can kind of know what to expect and play around with. This is the 4.0 update. It's got a new quick menu system, so whenever you hit that PlayStation button on your controller, it doesn't take you completely out of the game anymore. You're going to get a little menu that's going to pop up on the left-hand side, and you can scroll through your options there.
Pedro's really hype about that.
You can also do quick settings for your menu, too. I didn't get too deep into that and how that works, but apparently you can create shortcuts to get to things that you need to quicker.
I like it.
Music is easier to access now, or you can access it all together now. I've never used my PlayStation 4 for playing a whole lot of music.
Oh
anyway.
yeah, if you stream to like Spotify, like if you hold down the PS button, like you can like scroll back and forth between songs. It wasn't very intuitive. Probably streamlines that process and gives you more options, so I like it.
There are a couple of new icons for community stuff, so they made it easier to see what your friends are up to and what's going on in communities, which is pretty neat. And the new update also supports 1080p for streaming, share play, live broadcast on YouTube and Twitch. So that's something I would like for us to test out. 1080p on broadcasting for streaming, share play, and YouTube and Twitch.
See, I wonder how that's going to work, because that would probably come down to your internet.
Right, yeah. So your internet's going to have a lot to do with that. And we've tried doing the share play thing before, and the quality was terrible.
But that's before you upgraded your internet.
I do have better internet now, and...
we got to retry that.
Yeah, we have to retry that and test that out. And also, the final thing, major bullet point for this update is HDR compatibility. Now,
we're nerds, but we're not that big nerds. So if anyone can tell us why this HDR update is so important, because apparently it is. People are saying, like, how do you just, like, patch that in with an update?
Right.
How do pre-existing PS4s get this when it wasn't like designed into the console?
Yeah. So,
but apparently it's a big deal. And what does it do? You said?
I have no idea.
What does HDR stand for? High definition.
High definition something. I forgot to write it down.
Really coolness. High definition.
It's
really
good.
Coolness.
You do have to have an HDR compatible display for this feature, so it's not something that everyone's gonna see affecting them right away unless you have the equipment for it. So that's something to be excited about, apparently. And that's pretty much all the bullet points for that. My initial impressions on the new UI update is I kind of like it. I mean, I like the features that it adds, but it seems like I'm having to go through a couple of extra button presses just to do the normal things that I was doing before. But with the added, shortcut thing that you can set up, I could probably streamline that anyway. So it looks a lot cleaner. Overall, I think it looks a lot better.
I'm a big fan of clean.
Yeah, so I think you'll enjoy this a lot. So it's pretty good. Pretty nice little update.
Very awesome. You got anything else? You want to bring it home?
Nah, I think that's all I got here.
Say bye, Chi-Chi. Bye. All right, well, everyone, thanks for joining us for episode... Did I say 4 earlier? Are we on 4 or are we on 3? We're on some episode. Thanks for joining us, guys. Follow us on our Facebook group. We have really awesome group discussions, and we share a lot of content over there. Facebook.com/groups/The Square Gamers. We got a pretty big group over there now.
It is getting up there, man.
Yeah, it's like out of control. Lots of people over there. So follow us there. We're really into the community. Sunday's community day, so you can share your content over there. If you had some ridiculous like 360 no scope and Call of Duty, go share it over there. What else, Nate? Keep on gaming.
Please do.
All right, well, see you next week, folks, for the Extremely Decent Podcast. We're out of here, guys.